So what happens if she finally drops out only to run on the no labels ticket? Well, here's what Trump has to say.
Do you think Nikki Haley will run as a no labels candidate?
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
You've had enough of this.
Indeed. Now, let's broaden this all out, because ultimately they're both running against Biden, who is absolutely failing to impress Americans. Check this out. Nearly half disapprove of the way he's handling jobs. Almost 2/3 don't like how he's handling inflation. Same with foreign policy. And almost 3/4 of people believe he's botching immigration. On every issue, the old dolt is underwater.
So what's the man to do? Well, dash to California and ask his coastal elite donors for more money. They're his only hope, especially when he's on the ticket with this one.
And let me just tell you, I love Gen Z. I don't know if something, I love Gen Z. One of the things I love are Venn diagrams. I love Venn diagrams. Who doesn't love a yellow school bus, right? Can you raise your hand if you love a yellow school bus, right?
Who doesn't love a yellow school bus? Let's bring in former 2008 and 2016 presidential candidate, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, along with former Utah Congressman and Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. Gentlemen, great to see both of you. Kamala Harris, we set her aside. That is just too easy and delicious to touch right now. Let's go back to Nikki Haley. I was talking to a longtime political reporter who said Nikki Haley today actually alienated her only constituency, and that's the anti-Trump media, because they showed up expecting for her to drop out. What is she running for? Because crying about her husband in front of cameras, something that Hillary Clinton didn't even do, wins nobody over. Governor, to you first.
I thought her speech was unlike most Nikki Haley speeches in that typically she's very articulate. Today, the speech was mechanical. It was as if she was very carefully reading it, but there was not really emotion other than that one time when she talked about her husband. But it was not an inspiring, get up on your feet, clap, and boy, we're going to take it to the Republican Party. It was very businesslike and uninspiring. And I'm not trying to be critical. Well, she has every right to stay in the race until Donald Trump has enough delegates to claim the victory. At that point, I think she really is going to have to drop out because the race is essentially over. It's about delegates. When you have enough delegates to clinch the nomination process is effectively over.
You know, Congressman, money matters in politics. No doubt you and I know this. The governor knows that firsthand, how much time we spend raising money. But Dagan talked about the poll numbers. Joe Biden's underwater on jobs, infrastructure, climate change, inflation, foreign policy, immigration. He's on his way to California right now. He raised $1 billion in 2020. Can any money save Joe Biden from himself, his policies, his stumbles? Can you raise enough to win this race?
Well, I still worry that the Democrats, in my mind, I think are ahead. Not only, look, Republicans are ahead on pretty much every single issue, but Republicans were ahead on every issue in 2022. But Republicans are pathetic when it comes to getting organized, getting out the vote, adapting to the new rules and how we vote. We complain a lot as Republicans about how the voting happens. And that's the worry, is that between unions and not-for-profits and other types of infrastructure issues, Democrats are far ahead of the game. So, yeah, Republicans win on all issues, and then they lose elections. That's the biggest problem. So, yeah, they're going to go raise money. Then, you know what? Keeping Joe Biden on a flight all day to California and all day back, every day that can tick off where he doesn't have to stand in front of the media and actually say something coherent is a good day for Joe Biden.
And that rate, I'm going to combine those two issues. To Jason's point, Governor, Joe Biden ended January with $130 million in cash on hand, and that is, according to his campaign, the highest total amassed by any Democrat candidate at this point in the cycle. We have yet to get the figures from the Trump campaign. Is that Kamala Harris's role? Can she somehow, she's been working on penetrating the Biden information bubble, according to reporting, but can she help with the fundraising with some of the big money donors in California?
I seriously doubt it. She needs to stick to Venn diagrams, yellow school buses, and things she knows something about. It hasn't been administering anything in terms of federal policy. I agree with Jason on the mechanics of the election. This is not going to be an election decided primarily by money. You got to have it, but both candidates are going to have money. It's going to be two things: messaging, machinery. If you have a message and you can completely help America to understand Joe Biden is responsible for the immigration mess, for inflation, he's the one that's created the crisis internationally. So there you got the three I's: international, immigration, inflation. You can beat him on those issues, but you can't beat him if you don't get engaged in the process of mail-in ballots. You've got to make sure your voters turn out, go vote, and you've got to keep an eye on the Democrats so they don't cheat. If you just assume they're going to play fair, you're going to get beat. You've got to assume that they're going to do everything possible to stuff the boxes, to cheat, to get dead people, illegals to vote, and you're going to have to call them to account. If you don't, we lose.
That's a very good point. You know, Jason, the year may be 2024, but Democrats, they sound a lot like they did back when we were in Congress back in 2016. They're still pushing Russia conspiracy theories. Watch this.
And you wonder, what does Putin have on Donald Trump that he always has to be beholden to him, his buddy in vileness? I don't know what he has on him, but I think it's probably financial. I think it's probably financial, either something financial he has on or something on the come.
Jason, they can't leave Russia. Collusion. It's unbelievable. But she was upset. The former speaker was Nancy Pelosi, because Donald Trump had made some comments about NATO not paying their fair share. Well, if NATO spends more money on their defense, that's bad for Russia and good for America. I think she misunderstands what Donald Trump's trying to do here.
Yeah, and Donald Trump actually pulled that off. He got hundreds of millions of more dollars out of NATO to help protect all of us. Look, when Nancy Pelosi speaks, the only thing you should listen to is when she's got a stock pick, because she and her husband are really good at that, okay? They're really good at picking stocks. But when she talks about these other things, I'm sorry, but no, her time has come and gone. This whole scorched earth, Donald Trump's going to ruin the economy. He's going to start all these wars. He's going to, be bad for democracy. That's what Joe Biden has been. That's what happened under Joe Biden's watch. Didn't happen under Donald Trump's watch.
And who has done more to enrich Russia in the last 3 years than Joe Biden, Governor Huckabee?
That's right.
Russia would not have invaded Ukraine if not for Joe Biden cracking down and slamming the hammer on our oil and gas industry. And then Vladimir Putin turns around and builds out an entire network of 100 ghost ships to transport oil and distillates to the likes of Saudi Arabia and the UAE. They blew a multi-billion-dollar hole in the sanctions. This is all because of, aided and abetted by Biden, and she's jacking her jaw about Trump.
Yeah, it's ridiculous in that Donald Trump got us energy independent for the first time in 75 years, and we were exporting energy, a lot of liquefied natural gas and other forms of petrochemicals, and we were prospering because of it, and Americans were doing better. Prices were lower, and Russia was sucking air because we had a better supply than they did. I'll tell you who else was sucking air: Iran, because we basically cut them out, and they were not being hurt because we were bombing them. Under Trump, we were bankrupting them. Joe Biden gets in, he can't even get through an ice cream cone before he starts making concessions to Iran, empowers them with billions of dollars, and they turn around and give it to Hezbollah and Hamas, and the world's on fire. A lot of this is all because Joe Biden is trying to be Mr. Climate, but the climate he has created, he set the world on fire. It's burning down because his policies are just plain stupid.
They are stupid. And by the way, there was a 3-year investigation on Donald Trump, millions of dollars spent, and they came up with zero. Mike Huckabee, Jason Chaffetz, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.